Hey guys, I'm Doc. Welcome back to my garden. I don't normally do this at the beginning of my videos, but I thought I'd throw this in here for you. Normally my videos are 18 to 20 minutes long, and I have all the timestamps down in the description so you can skip to the parts that you want and learn what you want to learn. However, I feel like maybe that might be too long, so I'm going to do a little experiment here. We're going to do the exact same video, but cut down to just the important information. Maybe a 5 to 7 minute top snippet. And we're going to post those at the same time. If you like that video and you'd rather see that format, let me know down in the comments, whether it be here or in the other video. And yeah, I think it might work better for you. Or maybe I'll just do it all the time. I don't know. Doesn't matter. All right, let's get to this video. It's a off shush nugget. It's a brand new year. 2020 is out the door and gone, and you're excited to get your garden going. Last year you had a problem with transplants, so this year you're going to plant seeds early. Well, I'm going to plant a seed in your mind on how to get these seeds started, including my seed mix, and get them growing ready for your spring garden. All right, let's go. So it's that time of year now where you're kind of in between plantings. You really want to get started. And last year you had a problem getting transplants because 2020 was 2020. So you probably looked at my seed saving video. Hopefully you did. If you didn't, you check it out now. But that video right there taught you that you could start seeds on your own. Maybe you already knew. Maybe you've never tried it and you want to start them early. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to demystify how you can grow seeds indoors, get them started early, and get your garden ready to go. It's a really, really simple deal. I'm going to show you the mix of my seed starter. I'm going to show you the trays I use. I'm going to show you everything. So let's get our hands dirty. I'm normally in my garden for these videos, and right now the garden really isn't looking all that great. Actually, it looks fine. There's just not much in it. We've had a bunch of rabbits and stuff eat plants. We have a lot of our greens, so we've put up some fencing to take care of that. But also the chickens, because the sun is coming out and going in and coming out and going in with clouds, they keep crowing. So anyway, we're doing it out here. We don't normally do videos in the front, but we're doing it out here anyway. So first thing we're going to talk about is the materials that we use in this. We're going to use a couple of different things. Now, most of these you can get just about anywhere. You can use what's on hand. But the most important materials that you have are, you're going to have compost, which needs to be a very well-rotted compost. It can really be anything you want. It can be something you bought or whatever else. Just make sure it's organic. None of that weird stuff. Also, we're going to need some perlite, and we're going to need some peat moss. Now, in peat moss, this is not actually peat moss. I got kind of caught off guard. I thought I had some and I didn't, so I'm using a seed starting mix, which is way too light. It was almost all peat moss. So anyway, we're going to use that, but I suggest peat moss. We're also going to need seeds at the end. So that's pretty much the materials. Now, for the tools we need, we're going to need a fine sieve. And what the fine sieve is for is at the end to make sure that we've got very, very fine stuff going over the seeds. A measuring container of some sort. I'm using this because I don't really need a whole lot more than that. You'll see in a few minutes. We need a large colander for screening as well. You can use whatever you want. This has pretty decent sized holes. It's ancient. I've used it a bunch. We're also going to need pots. So these are like 3.5 inch, 4 inch. These are the 1.5 inch 6-packs. And these are for labeling. Got to do that. And a water tray for all of your pots. Now we also are going to need a large container. Doesn't have to be this large, but it's what I have. And some water in the end. Okay, so first things first. We need to make sure that we're doing a 3-part mix. That's going to be 3 parts of compost to 3 parts of peat moss to 3 parts of perlite. That's it. It's that simple. There's a couple things that we have to do to make it just right, though. So compost tends to be a little bit thick. It's got some bigger pieces in it, and we want to screen that out. So to screen that out, we're going to use our sieve. Now this is really simple. I'm just going to go over the bucket here, see if I can do this left-handed. Actually, I'll hold it up for you guys, and we're just going to pour it in. Now that's one. Okay, that's one. We're going to do 2 more for this. Actually, we're going to do 3 more for this so I can have a little bit extra. Okay, put our measuring cup aside. Now, we have this colander full of compost. We just want to shake it out. The reason we're doing this is we want to get as many big chunks out of this as possible. Now, this is going to take a while, so I'm just going to go after it. Now, another alternative to the colander, the big sieve basically, is you can use some hardware cloth. Now this is left over from my chicken coop, but it works really, really well too. In fact, I've always meant to do this, is to build a little frame out of this stuff. It's fairly inexpensive, you can get it just about anywhere, and it goes really quickly too. So I thought I'd show you some different alternatives. So now we're done. And what we have left is this really beautiful, fine compost. What came out was this. This is all the wood, bigger chunks and everything else, and we'll just throw that basically anywhere in the garden that you want some kind of mulch, so we'll put that away. So now we're going to add the peat moss. We have our fine compost in here, and we're going to sieve this too using the wire mesh this time. We don't really need to do this with the peat moss, it's fine. I had 4 of these in here. I actually added another about half, 3/4 because we needed more compost because there was a lot of material that came out of it. So we're going to go 4, 4.5 on this. So the point of the peat moss is to add a little bit more water retention. Now, again, I used this as a seed starting mix when I ran out, and I just was in a hurry and I bought it and didn't realize it was all peat moss and sphagnum moss. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna push it all down, break it all down. Okay, that's pretty much it. You can see we're just getting basically a bunch of this bigger stuff out of here. That's the only reason we screened it. You really don't have to screen this if you have just true peat moss, although it doesn't hurt. So that's done. So next up is perlite. Now this is stuff I had left over. Perlite basically is just an expanded rock. They expand it with heat, and it's very light and fluffy. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like styrofoam, but they kind of pop it like popcorn, and it's good. It lets water through, it lets air through it, keeps the soil aerated, and lets the water drain out. So it's a very important part of this. Again, this is the 3rd part, and we're gonna do 3 even parts. So 33% of each. We've already done the compost, now we've done the peat moss, and now we're gonna do the perlite. Don't breathe that dust. It's not good for you. Now that it's all together, all we have to do is start mixing it. Now you can mix this with your hands. You can use a pitchfork if you're making a bunch of it. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use my hands and mix all this together until it's perfectly mixed. Make sure to scrape off the bottom good. Don't breathe the perlite. As you can see, it's starting to really mix up well. Make sure you get way down to the bottom. Get everything in there. If you find some bigger chunks of the perlite, just smash it up. See how when I brought that to the bottom, we got a lot more of the compost in there? That means we're not quite mixed yet, so we're gonna keep on going. And we're looking pretty good. There is our potting soil. Our seed starting mix. It's light, it's airy. It's got good organic matter in it. Now, we gotta do just one more thing, and that's add water. Now the idea is not to saturate this, it's just get it damp. It makes it easier when we pot things up, so we don't have to worry about soaking it all the way through. So we're just gonna get in here and mix this again. Make sure we've got a good consistency and add more water until it sticks a little together. We want to mix it to the point that it just starts to clump. All right, now that we got our mix right here, all ready to go, we need pots. Now there's several different things that you can do with these, or several different ones you can use. I like to use these 4-inch, they call them 4-inch, they're really 3.5 or a little more. And these 1x1s are 1.5 by 1.5s, or 6-packs. And then I also like to use these watering trays. The reason why I like to use the watering trays is because you can water from the bottom. By pre-moistening this mix, when we water from the bottom, it'll wick up, it'll keep everything nice and moist, just the way it should be while the seeds are starting. Now, the bigger pots, these are used for your bigger plants, things like tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, and we're gonna be starting all of those. But these here give more room to grow for the the plant itself. So once the seedling starts, it's going to develop that root system. These are big root plants, and we know we're about 2.5 months or so from when we need to transplant these outside. So I'm putting the bigger plants in the bigger pots. These are great for things like greens, things like that. You can even do onions in these too, which we'll do some onions in these. And you can just sprinkle all of them over, split them out. But these are great. They're not going to be in there that long, and they're more surface, shallow root type plants. So use different varieties. You'll find ones you like. These are very sturdy. These are kind of flimsy, and these are all new. I haven't used these yet. If you have used them or you have used pots, make sure and sterilize your pots. The easiest way to do it is to take just like a hand sprayer and spray them with vinegar. Let them sit for 10-20 minutes and then rinse them off. The reason you want to sterilize those things, just like you would do with your clippers when you're cutting plants or getting cuttings or even cutting fruit, is because you don't want to get any disease that was previously in the pot or on the tool into your new soil. Remember, this is supposed to be pristine and sterile, and we want to give the best opportunity for our seedlings to grow. So we need that, and we need these. Let's go ahead and fill some pots. So we just want to scoop it up. We want to kind of pack it down a little bit, not real tight. We want to get it just at or below the surface, just like that. Now once again, I've packed these fairly tight, but not really, really hard. The idea is that with this mix, once the roots grow in there, we'll be able to pull the plant out of the pot and have the soil stay together. You can usually use these for what they call them press blocks. I don't know, where you start the seed and you make these really hard compressed pieces of soil. This will work for that too, but I've got it filled up, you know, all the way to the top on the big ones. Now it was important to note that on these small ones, if you look, I have an indention pressed into it. Now the reason I have that indention pressed into it is because we talked about that fine sieve, right? This is the reason why. The plants that are going in those smaller packs tend to be under, you see, 1/8 inch of a soil. Sometimes you can see a 32nd of an inch of soil. How do you measure 1/8 of an inch of soil? Well, I'll tell you how. You do it with this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our compost. That's all we need. We don't need our seed starting mix. And we're gonna pour it into this sieve. And it's gonna be a very, very fine bit of soil we can put on top of things. There we go. You can see what's left. And this is very fine soil. If you find any chunks, just throw them out. You don't need much. I mean, this is a couple of handfuls, and I see a big stick in there. A couple of handfuls, okay? And it's just gonna go on top. Now we're down to planting the seeds. Now, I've got all my seeds here and we're running out of daylight, so I'm not gonna show you me planting all these, but I will show you a few things on how it works. Now, for most of these plants, we have a certain depth to go to, so I'll give you an example. The tomatoes, they're usually about 1/4 inch. Now, you can use a dibber, and this is, those are cayenne, so these are tomatoes here. So you just dib in 1/4 inch, you place your seed, and you cover them up. Now, it's that simple. Once you've got those planted, you can just water them in. You don't have to do a lot of water because we've already done all this. Now, the smaller seed packets, these are the ones we talked about before when we made the small indention. These things are like 1/8 of an inch cover, for instance, like lettuces and stuff. So what you would do is you would simply sprinkle around your seed. And then we're just gonna take a really fine sieve soil, and we're gonna sprinkle it on top. Okay, that's it. You can see we already got everything labeled. It's all nice and ready to go. All I have to do now is water these things in, and we'll get them into our grow light area. So before we get these plants into our grow light area, we need to make sure we fill the trays with water and do one other thing. So first of all, we're gonna fill the bottom of the trays with water. Not much, maybe a 1/2 inch. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do an actual foil tent. Now, the reason why we do an actual foil tent is because we want to keep it very dark right off the bat, but we want to provide some warmth as well. And we want to do that just till they sprout. So you got to check them every day or so, make sure they're good. As soon as they sprout, we need to pull it off. Nice and tight so it doesn't come off. It keeps the moisture in, and it's going to help keep some of the heat in too. So we're going to do that to the rest of these, and then we're going to get them underneath the grow lights. Okay, final step, guys. We've got our casserole seedlings. We're all full of water, and I have a heat mat here. You can see the temperature gauge here. I have this set at 75. These are my homemade grow lights. If you want to learn more about these, I'll put a link down in the description and something up top to the video we've already done on how to make these really, really cheap grow lights. And also, we'll talk about this stand too in that video. So, all I'm going to do is place these on this heat mat. because we've put the foil on top of these plants, it's going to conserve some heat. We don't need to do that for more than a few days. Once the seedlings come up, once they sprout, we'll be ready to remove them, remove the foil, and lower the lights. And this last one is not actually on the heat pad, and that is because these are cooler plants. Do not foil these with the tent covering that we have on it if you're doing this outside. They will absolutely bake. If you want to fry your seeds, it's easier to put them in oil and do it in a frying pan. All right, guys, it's really simple and easy. Keep this at 75 degrees. The mat underneath is going to heat the water inside, get it up to about 70, and when it kicks off, it'll just turn itself off. These lights will help get it there. In fact, I might shut this down to 70. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I don't really want it to go above. Okay, we're there. 59 degrees, this thing will start warming up. And eventually I will cover this in plastic once the seedlings are out to keep them a little bit warmer, depending on the outside temperature. But this is it. Remember, don't put these on if you're doing this outside. If you are doing this outside, use a clear plastic dome. They sell them for a lot of these trays. It'll work a lot better for you. You won't fry your plants. That's it, guys. It's that simple. You can make your own seed starting mix. You can buy a seed starting mix. You can buy grow lights. You can do whatever you want. But this is the way I do it. I love it. It's nice and easy, and it gets the job done. Guys, if you like this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, share the video. If there's somebody you know that wants to start seeds this year, maybe it's their first time ever growing a garden and they want to get started earlier, maybe they've been doing it for years, but they never really started seeds, especially indoors. This might be really helpful to them. It really helps me out if you share that. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Guys, I want to leave you the same way I always do. There's only 4 things in life that you really need for a well-balanced life. Number 1 is somebody to love. Number 2 is something to believe in. Number 3 is something to do. And number 4 is something to look forward to. I look forward to gardening. I look forward to you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. All right, Doc out.